Tristan, I can't take all the credit because you said you saw a lion laying in the bush upon your arrival back towards the Sabi sand. But I suppose I better introduce myself before these cats do disappear into the thicket. My name is Tayla, and of course on camera with me today is Sebastian. Now remember, this is indeed a live and interactive safari, so if you have any questions for us, hashtag Safari Live on Twitter. We'd love to hear from you. But it seems as though the cubs are starting to move now. I suppose we could call them sub-adults. They're old enough. Just walking around. So there's only 3 adult lionesses here. I wonder where the 2 others are. It's not uncommon that we do see them splitting up like this. Breakaway sort of prides. Well, I don't think you can really call them a breakaway pride. Then maybe they're just taking a break from each other, but they end up always coming back to each other. Or they could have just got up and moved into the thicket already. We may have missed them. Oh, it does look like there might be one more adult. No, it's not. It's a youngster. They're just getting such big heads now. Off you go, Fluffy. Now they're just moving into the shady spots. Like we have been discussing, it's particularly warm, especially for our winters. It's not that we're not used to having the hot days, but today is an exceptional day. So I'm not surprised that we're actually just seeing the lions just up like this. And I think that they will go flat and lay underneath some trees. Hopefully I'm wrong though. I wouldn't mind being wrong. Here comes the next one. Here comes my favorite little girl. She's got the very, very dark eyes, just like Amber Eyes has. And she's growing up. She's actually grown quite a bit since I last saw her. I just got a quick glimpse. As she stood up, she looked towards me, and that's how I was able to identify her. So she's one of the youngest lions in the pride. Well, she is the youngest lion in the pride. She was the only one that survived from the teddy bear litter, if I'm not mistaken. The other 2, unfortunately, succumbed to the white muscle disease, which was terrible. Really, really terrible. The lionesses' heads are still up every now and then, and they're grooming themselves, so maybe they move around. Now, Ellie, who is only 6 years old and all the way from the UK, you're wondering if the lions purr like your cat does. Well, not like your cat does. There is one cat that makes a interesting purring sound, and that's the cheetah. It almost sounds like a motorbike. It is such a real rumble. Not so the cats here, especially the lions, can't purr like that, but they make other different types of sounds. So they can roar, which is quite cool. That's something that we always like to hear, and that's what they were doing the whole of last night and this morning. Doesn't look like there's Birmingham boys here, but they were here. They were with the pride at one point, and sounded like at about, it was about 9:30, maybe 10 o'clock. It sounded like the entire Nkuhuma Pride and some Birmingham boys were calling. Now there's one more. We're just waiting for one more. It's going to get up. It's not going to sit here on its own. So as soon as it stands up, we will watch it walk away. Come on, up you get. It's looking back at the adults and the other siblings. Yeah, the shade that they were sitting in is not doing the job of keeping them cool on a day like today, as the sun is getting higher in the sky. It's just creeping over the tops of the trees, but there you can see the little one. I think there might be 2. Oh no, you're down there. I couldn't work out where Sebastian was pointing the camera for a moment. I was like, oh, I thought we only had 1, and that lion is looking towards me, and that one's got its head back. Here we go. Here comes the last one, as I was telling you. Now, I've been trying to figure out how we can get in there. We might be able to take the same route that the lions are walking on, because I did go all the way around, but there was no gap, absolutely no gap to squeeze in. But we'll go around, we'll see what they get up to. Like I said, I'm not going to sit here for hours and hours and be patient with the lions, because I know what lions can be like. They'll just sleep for the entire 3 hours, and I'd rather go and find some other animals that are perhaps be more active. Maybe we find a herd of elephants somewhere. That would be quite nice to watch them if we get them splashing about in the water, or buffalo wallowing around. But definitely not going to be watching lions sleep today, and especially because they're in such a thick spot that we probably aren't even going to be able to make them out. But let's see if we can get another view. Also, this drainage line that they're heading into is treacherous. I don't think we'll make it. Where are you you going now? Cats, please don't take me on a wild goose chase this afternoon. It's exactly what they're doing. I can't even see them anymore, can you? Are they still moving? Okay, let's go. We'll go the other way around then. I'm just going to reverse back. It'll take me 2 seconds. Ooh. And I just pulled my earpiece out. Hang on. Knobthorn got it. So luckily for us, there's another track. Whee! Oh, bump. Sorry. Just got to catch up quickly here. Now this is the problem is due to the fantastic camouflage that a lion has in this long golden grass, and it gets quite tall going, and then they're going to completely disappear. So now we just need to catch up. Luckily there's an old road. I think we had a couple of sightings in here before over the last 6 months. So there's a worn track that should take us out to the open, to the next gap quite quickly, where those lions are walking, because they've actually jumped quite far ahead of us. Kitty cats, please, not today. I think if we go, I think I saw one lioness look like there's one, and there was another one that was walking up ahead. So I just want to make sure if you got her. See, Sebastian's sitting nice and high. Oh yes, that's the one I saw. So here's, I wonder, you know what, I think they're just going to follow her. We might as well stick up with the leader of the pack, eh? Here's some cubs, we can quickly have a look at them. That's a good shady spot. Again, it is tough. It's going to be tough to do. Or even that lot might actually be better, the one sitting on the left, because you can actually see their heads over the tops of the grass. These guys are laying flat. Like we always say, we've given them our own collective noun, a carpet of lions. Typically it's a pride of lions. But nice to see the Nkuhumas. I know that they're not looking in the, even though they're thin, it doesn't mean that they're not in good condition. So don't let that worry you. These animals are resilient, and the hunger will drive them. And maybe that's what's happening right now. There's a bit of a breeze that's starting to pick up, so it is starting, right now it's just starting to cool everything down. So they could go out on a hunt, who knows? Where's this lioness gone now? Can't see her. Now, David, you're wondering if the boy cubs will bully the lionesses as they get older. No, not too badly. So it's not quite like what happens with elephants, because we see that often. The young males, as they start getting quite excited with life, they then turn their frustrations to the females and the younger members of the pride. That doesn't typically happen here. Those lionesses will stand together and give those young boys a hiding. If it needs to be like that. So they don't really tolerate anything like that. I mean, even the lionesses don't tolerate the dominant males sometimes. We've seen many altercations between lionesses. There we go, sitting up. See, they keep looking for this other lioness who's just up in front. I can't see her anymore, but at least we're sort of halfway between the two. But it is going to be tricky if they go down in here. I don't know how we're going to navigate around. So actually what I'm going to do is, while you watch them walk, I'm going to open my phone and put the GPS on, just so I can try and figure out exactly where they're going to go and where they're going to pop out, what's going to be the best route, without us having to go through ridiculous terrain and break a car. It's very easy. Obviously, these types of things happen often when you go out on safari. There's absolutely nothing you can do, and you've seen the vegetation we have to go through if we want to follow these animals. And this long grass really doesn't help, and that's exactly what happened to Ali last night. That's often why I stand up. You've seen me driving and standing, and you probably think, my goodness, Tayla, what are you doing now? And it's just to try and spot those stumps. They don't look like they really want to go anywhere, and it's probably because they're feeling lethargic, they're tired, they don't have any extra energy. They're now cutting into those valuable fat and muscle reserves that, you know, they don't want to. It's just because they haven't had a meal. So they keep sitting down every point. Well, the cubs are starting to follow. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So all 6 are here. It's just triple checking. So it must be Amber Eyes and the youngest Nkuhuma lioness that are off. Driving up to leopards, you're wondering if it's your imagination or do those lions look underweight? It's normal. This is so typical of the big cats. Remember, they're opportunistic feeders, so they're not the greatest hunters. They're not so successful as wild dogs are. They've tried to make a couple of attempts, but haven't managed to grab anything. So yes, they are looking thin. They do need to eat. And hopefully today will be the day. And as long as they're standing up and moving around, we'll try and stick with them. The adults are going again, which means I don't know what the cubs are doing, because if the adults are going to go on a hunt, these little ones might be, they're not really joining in though just yet. They're still just would be observing for the sidelines. Oh, here comes another adult. So now we've got 4 lionesses. Can you see her? So maybe the 5th lioness is still here. Here she comes. Hello, girl. Who have we got here? This looks like the youngest. Is it? No, I can't tell the difference. I just know amber eyes, but she's got a really, yeah, I think it is. This is not amber eyes. No, she's got lovely golden eyes. I'm just looking at her nose. It's quite pink, but there is one lioness in the Pride that has got a speckled pink nose. Okay, well then I'm going to say that probably all 5 lionesses are here, if this is the case. It's very rarely, unless one of them is off mating with a male, with one of the Birmingham boys, which I know there was a mating pair in Buffelshoek over the last 2 days. And it was an Nkuhuma lioness. Rexon didn't specify which lioness it was. So maybe it's just 4. It's hard to tell. We'll just have to wait and see, seeing as though we keep getting surprises coming out of the long grass. But nonetheless, I can tell you this is great to have a lion moving during the heat of the day. But she's obviously realized that the adults, or the other lionesses, have got up and on the move. You don't look very impressed today. She keeps pulling faces. Oh, she's got an injury on the inside of her leg. Look at that. Looks like a bite mark. Oh, she's got some, and on her rump. She's got some serious injury. She's not limping, but I think when they were fresh, that would have been very sore. We'll see if we can get a view. I wonder if she just hasn't been fighting. Because there's a scratch on the back. Yeah. I haven't had a good view of them. But I think I remember the last time I saw the Nkuhumas, one was slightly limping. Maybe it was her. It was also completely dark. But it's healed up now. And I can imagine when those wounds were fresh, that would have been a little bit on the painful side. But she looks good. Wow. This is going to be exciting trying to maneuver through here. So while I do this and catch up with the lionesses of the Nkuhuma Pride, let's go across to Tristan. He's arrived at Treehouse Dam. We are surrounded by the big cats of Africa at the moment. You can see. How great is that? To be sitting almost eye to eye with a lioness. It's pretty amazing. Now, we often have leopards walking around the cars, and the lions are actually the ones that are even easier to habituate around the vehicles. She would not be standing right there if she didn't want to walk in this place. And they've got plenty of places to sort of go around. I'm just going to shuffle, chasing the shade. The youngsters are actually coming now too. Let's see what their reaction is with the cars. Oh, it's so beautiful. Here they all come. They're all going to funnel in a line. They're going the other way around. They're going around the back. But they're definitely hungry. You can see some of the little ones are looking thinner than the others, and it's important that these youngsters continuously get meals so that they can grow into the biggest and the strongest lions that they can be. It's the same thing with Hosana and Shongile, is that they need to constantly keep... Look at this, Seb. Here's your cat here. You could just about reach over and scratch it. One just walk right past the car within touching distance. But I'm going to keep my hands in the vehicle. Now, Mary, you said it is so close, so cool. It is. It's pretty exhilarating. You know, I definitely get butterflies in my tummy when a leopard walks past, or when a lion does it and I haven't got a door on the side of the car. It gives me the heebie-jeebies more than anything. But I know that as long as I keep my hands and my feet in the vehicle and I don't shuffle around too much and draw attention and break the silhouette of the car, I'm fine. They're not worried about me. They don't want to eat me. Even when I'm out of the vehicle and you spot lions on foot, most of the time they just run away from us. So they're actually quite scared. But in the cars, we have this different relationship with them. we're sort of neutral. They don't mind us, we follow them around, they walk around us. It's quite a great relationship that we sort of have. It's like being a rock, except not the kind of rock that a rhino or a buffalo or a hippopotamus or even an elephant would rub up against. I'm glad that they don't rub up against us after they've had a mud bath. But they're moving into these drainage systems now. They're wanting to catch something. They're hungry. The one lioness, she doesn't stop for too long. She's up and down the whole time. And it's a good tactic, especially if they just want to get something small to catch something. The kudu, inyala, impala, all these types of animals will also be feeding down along the drainage line. So as soon, I think, as they hear some shuffling in the leaves, they'll make a move, even during the day. So we're getting to the point now where we might have a situation where we break that whole stigma that is attached to lions, where people say that big cats do not hunt during the day. Now that's an old wives' tale. Hi cats, which way are you going to go? We've got more cubs. We've got one going in front, one going behind now. Just be careful, Seb, they're right behind. One's right behind you. This one is okay though. You guys don't even care, hey, with the cars. I feel as though the youngsters don't mind us. This one's a little bit wary. What's wrong? You can go in front. There's plenty of space. Looks like you're one of the young males now that's walking behind us. Oh boy. They're growing up so quickly. Now, a question from Charlie, and that is, would these lions start hunting smaller prey if they had to? Yes, I think that's what's going on over here. I think they've got to that point where they're so desperate now, even if they catch a duiker, which would not even be a mouthful for each of these lions, but if they could catch a kudu, ideally that would be much better. And I think that's what they're hoping to stumble across. An adult, a female kudu would be great. That would supply them with full bellies that they'd probably finish it in the late hours of the evening. A kudu bull would probably last until tomorrow morning, because I wouldn't be surprised with all the commotion that would go on if the Birmingham boys would come streaming in, because it seems as though they meet up with the Nkuhuma Pride every single night. They might not spend too much time with them all the time, but they definitely pop past them just to make sure that everything is okay, everything's going to according to plan. You know, there's no new males trying to push in here. It's good that they continuously pop in and just check that everything's all right, and then they go elsewhere, and then they go and rest somewhere. Sorry, I'm just shuffling around in my seat. I'm fighting off flies this afternoon, and this is where I wish I had the tail like a lion has, to be able to swat them, because my hands are absolutely hopeless. It's very quiet out here. A couple of turtle doves are chirping in the distance. But I think they've picked a good time to start moving. Like I said, the wind is just starting to pick up, and we know that wind is great, especially when you've got very hungry lions that want to hunt. This is where they also get sloppy though, when it comes to the cat's hunting technique. When they are tired like this, is another cub just walking past the vehicle. And we're just waiting for one more now. I think 1, 2, 3, 4. No, we're waiting for 2 more. Now, Jackie, you're wondering, how do you tell so easily if they've eaten or not? Sorry. Excuse me, I always seem to sneeze around the cats in the last couple of days. So Jackie, the easiest way is just to look at their bellies, because you can see they're quite thin now. So even if they did catch something like an impala, again, it wouldn't be a meal for the entire pride, you would see that their bellies would bulge slightly. So it's very easy. You just got to look at the stomach, and if you're still unsure, you can look around their mouths, you can check around their necks, on their legs to see if there's any blood. That's also another sign. That's my favorite little girl. She's beautiful, don't you think? Still looking for attention, but nobody wants to give it to her today. She got slightly swatted by that other lioness. Oh, no, you're not. Look at this. You know what? Those teddy bear cubs are the most, well, there's only one left. They were the most persistent 3 lion cubs I've ever come across in my entire life. Do you remember all those wonderful sightings we had where the mothers were trying to wean them, and they just weren't taking no for an answer? And she's gone in now, And I wonder if she'll try and suckle just for comfort. She looks like she's grooming, but I mean, we know that that's very, very close to that lioness's mammary glands, that area that she is looking in. Yes, you see there she is too. She's trying to suckle, but there's nothing. Mom's not producing anything at all. She's obviously just that hungry. They were weaned ages ago. They typically wean for about 6-7 months, maybe give or take, depending if there's younger cubs in the pride too, because then you'll get the older ones trying to suckle from one of the other lionesses. That happens quite often. They're not prone, I mean, it's not uncommon, so what am I talking about? It's not uncommon to see allo suckling take place, but she's not really having any of that. She wants to sit up and actually catch some food. So by licking it and kneading at it, you know, that youngster's trying to stimulate milk, but mom hasn't been producing milk for a very, very long time. And now, this is going to be the fun part, because where the lionesses are crossing now, that's a really good spot. That's going to be our spot to cross too, because I need to try and figure out where they're going to come up from there. They're going towards Gallagher's shortcut, but it's still quite a way to go. But maybe they have a definite route, and they'll help us and lead us towards the road. The closest water from here is Gallagher Pan or Vuyatela. They could go either way. Jeffo, you're wondering, due to the lack of food, would this cause the pride to split once the cubs get older? Maybe, but it's not necessary. Remember, this time of the year is when the buffalo come back. This is when we see the big herds of buffalo. But because we had all that late rain, it's obviously changed the seasons up slightly, because the grass is a lot longer than what it should be, than what it normally is. So as soon as the buffalo come back, they'll be fine. I don't think that they're going to split. I mean, not yet. We see Amber Eyes and the youngest lioness going off from time to time, but they always come back. So no, I don't think so just yet. But it can happen. It most certainly can. If you hear squeaking, it's me. It's just exceptionally warm, and myself and Sebastian also need to stay hydrated. So I'm also going to sip water. Yes, here comes the wind. I'm sure they'll be appreciating that too. That must be nice and cool on their fur. But they can pant. They can keep themselves cool by doing that. And once these little ones go through, we are also going to have to do exactly the same thing, keep following them. This is where we followed Mvula the one day. What a nightmare. It is a very thick block. It's one of my least favorite blocks to drive in. Actually, I reckon you could ask Tristan and Byron and Ali and Jamie and Brent and James and everybody else that works here, and they'll tell you exactly the same thing. This is the worst place to drive, but we'll give it a bash anyway. We're going to send you across to Tristan now. He's got something that the warthogs would find very tasty.